For centuries, humanity looked up at the stars and asked the same question. Is anyone out there? They built big ears to listen. They built big eyes to watch. They sent messages into the dark. Nothing ever answered. Just silence. Cold, empty, endless silence. Some people gave up. They said the universe was empty. No aliens. No friends. No enemies. Just rocks and gas and fire. Other people kept listening. They said the silence was not empty. It was waiting. Then one day, everything changed. The Deep Space Observatory was on the far side of the moon. It was a place with no noise from Earth. No radios. No phones. No people talking. Just pure silence and pure listening. The scientists there worked in small rooms with big screens. They drank bad coffee and slept in small beds. They had been listening for 20 years. They had heard nothing. Until the vibration came. It was not a sound. Sound cannot travel through space. It was not a radio wave. Radio waves come from stars and planets and machines. This was something else. Something older. Something deeper. A vibration in the fabric of space itself. Like a drum being hit far away. But the drum was the universe. And the drummer was something no one could see. The scientist who first noticed it was named Dr. Elias Voss. He was old. His hair was white. His eyes were tired. He had been listening to silence for so long that he had stopped hoping. He just sat in his chair and watched the screens. Then a line moved. A small line. A tiny jump on the screen. Dr. Voss sat up. He rubbed his eyes. He looked again. The line moved again. Then again. A pattern. A slow, repeating pattern. He called his team. They gathered around the screen. No one spoke. They just watched. The pattern continued. Slow. Steady. Like a heartbeat. But not a heartbeat. Something else. Something stranger. They worked for 3 days. They cleaned the signal. They removed the noise. They compared it to every known sound in the universe. It was not a star. Not a planet. Not a black hole. Not any known thing. On the 4th day, they found the truth. The vibration was a word. One word. Repeated over and over. The same word. Again and again. A name. The name was not in any human language. It was not in any alien language they had ever imagined. It was older than language. Older than thought. It was a word that existed before mouths could speak it. When the computer tried to translate it, the screen went blank. Then the word appeared. For simple words in English. The fear that walks. Dr. Voss read the words. He read them again. He looked at his team. Their faces were white. What does that mean? A young scientist whispered. Dr. Voss did not answer. He did not know. The news spread across Earth like fire. Every screen. Every phone. Every radio. The same words. The fear that walks. Humanity had a name. And the name was fear. World leaders gathered in a big room. They argued for hours. Some said it was a trick. Some said it was a mistake. Some said it was a message from God. No one agreed on anything. The president of Earth was a woman named Cole. She was calm and smart and did not scare easily. But even she felt cold when she said the name out loud. The fear that walks, she said. Why would the universe name us fear? No one had an answer. Then a new message came. Not from the vibration. From deep space. From a source no one had ever heard before. It was not human. It was not a computer. It was alive. Something old. Something wise. Something terrified. The message was short. It said, "We have watched you for a long time. We did not want to speak. But now you have heard the name. We must explain." The human leaders stared at the message. Someone asked, "Who are you?" The answer came fast. "We are the first ones. We are the oldest species in the galaxy. We have lived for billions of years. We have seen stars born and die. We have never been afraid of anything. Until now." The human president leaned forward. "Why are you afraid of us?" The first one's answer made the room go cold. "We did not name you," the message said. "Fear named you. The universe itself named you. Because you are the only thing the universe has ever learned to be afraid of." Silence filled the room. No one spoke. No one breathed. President Cole asked the question everyone was thinking. Why? We are small. We are young. We have not conquered a single star. Why would the universe fear us? The first one took a long time to answer. The humans waited. Minutes passed. Hours. Then the message came. Because you are the only species that looks at the dark and walks toward it. The only species that breaks its own world and then fixes it. The only species that carries hope and horror in the same heart. The universe does not fear your weapons. It fears your potential. It fears what you might become. It fears what you already are. President Cole sat back in her chair. She looked at the other leaders. She looked at the screens. She looked at her own hands. The fear that walks, she whispered. She did not know if she should be proud or terrified. Maybe both. Maybe that was the point. Humans could feel both at the same time. Hope and fear. Love and hate. Courage and doubt. Maybe that was why the universe was scared. Not because humans were monsters. Because humans were everything. All at once. And nothing in the cold, dark universe knew what to do with that. The first one sent one last message. Be careful, it said. The universe is watching you now. It has named you. It will never forget. And neither will we. Then the message stopped. The first ones went silent again. The vibration continued. Slow. Steady. Like a heartbeat. The fear that walks. The fear that walks. The fear that walks. Humanity had a name. And the name was fear. Now they had to learn how to live with it. The first ones came to Earth 3 months after the message. They did not come in a big ship with lights and weapons. They came in a small, silent pod that looked like a smooth gray stone. It landed in a field outside Geneva, where the United Nations building stood. No one saw it come. No one heard it land. It was just there one morning, waiting. The humans sent soldiers first, then scientists, then diplomats. The pod did not open. It just sat in the grass, smooth and silent. A message appeared on every screen near it. Send your leader. Alone. No weapons. No fear. President Cole was not afraid of much. But she was afraid of this. She went anyway. She walked across the field alone. No guards. No guns. Just her and the gray pod. The pod opened. Inside was a small room with soft lights and warm air. And inside the room was the oldest living thing President Cole had ever seen. The first one was not human. She was not even close. She looked like a tree that had learned to walk. Her skin was brown and rough like bark. Her eyes were deep and green like leaves in summer. Her hair was long and gray like old moss. She was tall and thin and beautiful in a strange, ancient way. She smelled like rain and earth and time. I am called Elder Root, she said. Her voice was soft and slow. Every word sounded heavy, like it had traveled a long distance to be spoken. I am the last of the first ones who still speak to new species. The others are too scared. They hide in the dark places between stars. President Cole sat down across from her. The floor was warm. The air was calm. Scared of us? She asked. Elder Root nodded. Her head moved slowly, like a tree bending in the wind. Yes. Scared of you. More scared than we have ever been of anything. And we have seen everything. We have seen stars explode. We have seen galaxies crash into each other. We have seen black holes eat suns. Nothing scared us. Until you. President Cole felt cold. Why? What did we do? Elder Root leaned forward. Her green eyes looked deep into the human's brown ones. It is not what you did. It is what you are. She paused. The room was silent. Even the wind outside seemed to stop. The universe is alive, Elder Root said. Not like you. Not like us. But alive in its own way. It feels. It learns. It grows. And for billions of years, it felt only one thing. Peace. Stars were born. Stars died. Planets formed. Planets broke apart. Everything followed the rules. Everything was predictable. The universe was calm. She closed her eyes. When she opened them, they were wet. Then you came. Humans. Small. Soft. Short-lived. You should not matter. You should be a tiny note in a very long song. But you are not. You are the loudest thing the universe has ever heard. President Cole shook her head. That makes no sense. We cannot even leave our own solar system properly. We have no great empire. No great weapons. No great wisdom. We are beginners. Children. Elder Root smiled. It was a sad smile. That is exactly why the universe fears you. She reached out her hand. Her fingers were long and thin like roots. She touched President Cole's chest, right over her heart. You carry hope here, she said. And horror. In the same place. At the same time. You love your children, and you build bombs. You sing songs, and you start wars. You cry at sad movies, and you destroy forests. You are both things. Good and bad. Light and dark. Never one without the other. She pulled her hand back. Every other species in the galaxy is one thing. The Gorn are peaceful. They have always been peaceful. They will always be peaceful. The Vorkith are warlike. They have always been warlike. They will always be warlike. The first ones are watchers. We have always watched. We will always watch. We are predictable. We follow our natures. We do not change. She looked at President Cole with something like wonder. But you change. You were warlike. Now you are peaceful. You were peaceful. Now you are warlike. You hate. Then you forgive. You destroy. Then you build. You look at the dark, empty, scary parts of space, and you walk toward them. Not because you are brave. Because you are curious. Because you cannot help yourselves. President Cole sat in silence. She thought about human history. All the wars. All the peace. All the hate. All the love. All the times humans had done the wrong thing. All the times they had done the right thing. Elder Root was right. Humans were not one thing. They were everything. So the universe is scared of us because we are confusing? She asked. Elder Root laughed. It was a dry, rustling sound, like old leaves in the wind. Yes. Confusing. Unpredictable. Chaotic. The universe does not know what you will do next. And that is the oldest fear. Fear of the unknown. You are the unknown. You have always been the unknown. You will always be the unknown. She stood up. The meeting was over. I came to warn you, she said. The universe has named you the fear that walks. It will watch you now. Always. It will wait for you to become one thing. Good or evil. Peaceful or warlike. Predictable. But you will not. You will stay two things. Many things. Everything. And the universe will never stop being afraid. She walked to the door of the pod. Then she stopped and looked back. Do not be proud of this, she said. Do not be ashamed. Just be careful. Fear is a strong thing. It can destroy what it does not understand. The universe has not decided what to do with you yet. Be good. Be kind. Be better than you were yesterday. That is the only way to survive. Then she stepped into the pod. The door closed. The pod rose into the air. Silent. Smooth. Gone. President Cole sat alone in the field. The grass was green. The sky was blue. The world was the same. But she was different. She looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the universe was watching. Waiting. Afraid. Of her. Of all of her people. Of the small, soft, strange creatures who could not decide if they wanted to build or destroy. Love or hate. Live or die. She stood up. She brushed off her clothes. She walked back to the city. She had a lot of work to do. Humans had a name to live up to. The fear that walks. And they had to decide what that meant. Elder Root did not leave Earth right away. She stayed for 1 week. She walked through human cities. She watched human people. She ate human food. She listened to human music. She cried at human funerals. She laughed at human jokes. She saw everything. The good. The bad. The beautiful. The ugly. On the last day, she asked to speak to the world leaders again. They gathered in the big room in Geneva. President Cole sat at the front. The other leaders sat in rows behind her. Screens carried the meeting to every country on Earth. Everyone wanted to hear what the oldest being in the galaxy had to say. Elder Root stood at the front of the room. She looked old and tired and wise. Her bark skin seemed darker than before. Her moss hair seemed grayer. Her leaf eyes seemed sadder. You want to know why the universe fears you, she said. It was not a question. You think it is because you are strong, or because you are violent, or because you have powerful weapons. That is not it. She walked slowly across the room. Her feet made soft sounds on the floor. The universe evolved fear a long time ago. Before there were stars. Before there were planets. Before there was anything but dark and light. The universe learned to feel danger. To feel threat. To feel things that could hurt it. She stopped at a window. She looked out at the sky. Stars that might go supernova too early. The universe feels that as a threat. Black holes that might eat too fast. The universe feels that as a threat. Rifts in space that might tear everything apart. The universe feels that as a threat. These are the things the universe fears. Big things. Powerful things. Destructive things. She turned back to the leaders. But you are not big. You are not powerful. You are not destructive. Not compared to a supernova. Not compared to a black hole. Not compared to a rift in space. You are small. You are soft. You are weak. So why does the universe fear you? No one answered. The room was silent. Because you are unpredictable, Elder Root said. The universe can predict a supernova. It knows when a star will die. It can predict a black hole. It knows how fast it will eat. It can predict a rift. It knows where it will tear. These things follow rules. These things make sense. These things are logical. She walked back to the front of the room. She looked at the leaders one by one. But you do not follow rules. You do not make sense. You are not logical. You love when you should hate. You forgive when you should revenge. You hope when there is no reason to hope. You are chaos. Beautiful, terrible, wonderful chaos. She pointed at President Cole. Your country fought a war against itself. Brother against brother. Father against son. It was horrible. It was bloody. It should have broken you forever. But it did not. You forgave each other. You rebuilt together. You became friends with your enemies. That makes no sense. She pointed at a leader from Europe. Your people fought for 1,000 years. They killed each other over land and religion and pride. Then one day they stopped. They built a union. They shared money and food and borders. Now they do not fight at all. That makes no sense. She pointed at a leader from Asia. Your people were invaded and hurt and broken. They had every reason to hate, every reason to seek revenge. But they chose not to. They chose to build instead of destroy, to forgive instead of punish. That makes no sense. She put her hands together. Her voice became soft. Every other species in the galaxy follows patterns. The Gorn are peaceful. They have always been peaceful. They will always be peaceful. The Vorkith are warlike. They have always been warlike. They will always be warlike. The first ones are watchers. We have always watched. We will always watch. We are predictable. We are logical. We are safe. She looked at the humans. Her eyes were wet. You are not safe. You are not predictable. You are not logical. You are the only species in the galaxy that can be both peaceful and warlike in the same day. The only species that can love an enemy. The only species that can forgive the unforgivable. The only species that can look at certain death and say, not today. She took a deep breath. The universe does not understand you. And what it does not understand, it fears. Not your weapons. Not your strength. Not your anger. Your heart. Your strange, broken, beautiful heart that feels everything all at once. Hope and fear. Love and hate. Courage and doubt. All of it. Together. Always. She sat down on the floor. She looked small now. Not like an ancient being. Like a tired grandmother. The universe is watching you, she said. It is waiting to see what you will do next. Will you destroy yourselves? Will you destroy others? Will you build something new? Will you love? Will you hate? It does not know. No one knows. Not even you. She closed her eyes. That is the fear. Not knowing. Never knowing. Because you are human. And humans do not follow rules. You make your own rules. You break your own rules. You make new rules. Then you break those too. She opened her eyes. She looked at President Cole. Do you understand now? Why the universe named you the fear that walks? President Cole nodded. Her voice was quiet. Because we are not one thing. We are everything. Elder Root nodded. Yes. Everything. All at once. That is your gift. That is your curse. That is your name. She stood up slowly. She walked to the door. I must go now. The first ones are waiting. They are scared. They want to hide. They want to forget you exist. But I will not forget. I will watch. I will wait. I will hope. She looked back one last time. Do not prove me wrong. Then she was gone. The room was silent. The leaders sat in their chairs. No one moved. No one spoke. They were the fear that walks. And for the first time, they understood what that meant. It was not a threat. It was not a promise. It was just the truth. And the truth was terrifying. Elder Root came back 1 year later. She looked older. Her bark skin had more cracks. Her moss hair had more gray. Her leaf eyes had more sadness. She had spent the year watching humans from far away. She had seen their wars and their peace. Their hate and their love. Their destruction and their building. She had seen everything. And she had made a decision. She called the world leaders together again. The same room in Geneva. The same chairs. The same screens. But the faces were different. The humans had changed. They were not as scared as before. They were not as confused. They had spent a year thinking about their name. The fear that walks. They had started to understand it. They had started to accept it. Elder Root stood at the front of the room. She did not smile. She did not cry. She just looked at the humans with her ancient green eyes. I have come to give you a choice, she said. The universe has asked me to offer it. You can change your name. You can become predictable. You can follow the laws of the universe. Then the fear will stop. The universe will no longer see you as a threat. The room was quiet. Leaders looked at each other. What does that mean? President Cole asked. How do we become predictable? Elder Root walked to the window. She looked out at the sky. You must choose one nature, she said. You must be always peaceful or always warlike. Always good or always evil. Always building or always destroying. You cannot be both anymore. You cannot change. You cannot surprise. You must follow the rules that every other species follows. You must become logical. Safe. Boring. She turned back to face them. The universe will help you. It will change your hearts. It will take away your chaos. You will still be human. But you will be human in only one way. One path. One nature. Forever. The leaders started talking. Some were excited. No more wars, they said. No more fighting. No more hate. Others were scared. No more choice, they said. No more freedom. No more hope. President Cole raised her hand. The room went quiet. What if we say no? She asked. What if we want to stay the same? Elder Root nodded slowly. Then you stay as you are. Chaotic. Unpredictable. Feared. The universe will continue to watch you. Continue to be afraid of you. It will never trust you. Never understand you. Never feel safe around you. She paused. But it will not destroy you. It cannot. Fear does not destroy. Fear just watches. Fear just waits. Fear just wonders what will happen next. The leaders debated for many days. They argued in the big room. They argued in small rooms. They argued on the phone and through screens. Some wanted to change. Peace is better than fear, they said. Predictable is better than scary. Others wanted to stay the same. Freedom is better than safety, they said. Chaos is better than cages. Families argued at dinner tables. Friends argued in coffee shops. Strangers argued on the internet. The whole world was talking about the same thing. Should humans change? Should they become like every other species? Logical. Predictable. Safe. Or should they stay human? Messy. Chaotic. Free. On the 7th day, President Cole called Elder Root back to the big room. The other leaders sat in their chairs. The screens showed the faces of billions of people watching from home. We have made our choice, President Cole said. Elder Root nodded. Her face was calm, but her eyes were scared. She did not know what the humans would say. No one knew. That was the point. President Cole stood up. She walked to the front of the room. She looked at Elder Root. Then she looked at the cameras. Then she looked at the other leaders. She took a deep breath. We did not ask to be feared, she said. We did not ask to be named the fear that walks. We did not ask to be the only chaos in a universe of order. But we will not stop being who we are. Her voice grew stronger. We will keep hoping, even when there is no reason to hope. We will keep loving, even when love hurts us. We will keep making mistakes, and we will keep fixing them. We will keep walking toward the dark, not because we are brave, because we are curious, because we cannot help ourselves, because that is what humans do. She looked at Elder Root. If the universe fears that, then the universe will have to learn to live with fear. The room was silent. Elder Root stared at President Cole. Her green eyes were wide. Her bark hands were shaking. You choose chaos, she whispered. You choose unpredictability. You choose to remain feared. President Cole nodded. We choose to remain human. Elder Root stood still for a long time. Then she started laughing. It was not a happy laugh. It was not a sad laugh. It was a surprised laugh. A confused laugh. A laugh that came from a place deep inside her that had not been touched for billions of years. No other species would make this choice, she said. No other species would choose fear over safety. Chaos over order. Freedom over peace. Only humans. Only you. She walked to President Cole. She took the human's hands in her own. I do not understand you, she said. I have lived for billions of years. I have seen everything. And I do not understand you. That scares me. But it also impresses me. You are brave. Or stupid. Or both. I cannot tell. That is the point. She let go of President Cole's hands. She stepped back. I will tell the universe your choice. The fear will continue. But maybe that is not a bad thing. Maybe fear is not just danger. Maybe fear is also respect. Maybe fear is also wonder. Maybe the universe needs to be scared. To stay awake. To pay attention. She walked to the door. She stopped. She looked back. Do not prove me wrong, she said. Again. The same words as last time. But now they sounded different. Less like a warning. More like a hope. Then she was gone. President Cole sat down. Her heart was pounding. Her hands were shaking. She had just chosen chaos for 8 billion people. She had just chosen fear over safety. She had just told the universe that humans would not change. She looked at the other leaders. Some were crying. Some were smiling. Some were just sitting in shock. She looked at the cameras. Billions of people were watching. She did not know what they were thinking. She did not know if they were proud or angry or scared. That was the point. No one knew. No one would ever know. Because humans were unpredictable. Humans were chaos. Humans were the fear that walks. And they had chosen to stay that way. Forever. Elder Root returned to her people. The first ones lived in a place between stars. A dark, quiet place where time moved slowly and nothing ever changed. They had lived there for billions of years. They had watched the universe grow from nothing to everything. They had seen it all. And they had never been afraid. Until now. The other first ones gathered around Elder Root. They looked like her. Bark skin. Moss hair. Leaf eyes. But younger. Less tired. Less sad. They had not gone to Earth. They had not seen the humans. They had only heard the stories. And the stories scared them. What did they choose? Asked the eldest of the first ones. His name was Deep Root. He was older than Elder Root. Older than anyone. He had seen the first star light up. He had seen the first black hole eat. He had seen everything. And his voice shook when he asked the question. Elder Root looked at her people. She saw the fear in their eyes. She had never seen that before. The first ones did not feel fear. They were too old, too wise, too powerful. But now they were afraid. Of humans. Of small, soft, short-lived creatures who could not even leave their own solar system properly. They chose to remain themselves, Elder Root said. They chose chaos. They chose unpredictability. They chose to stay human. The first ones gasped. Some covered their mouths. Some held each other. Some just stared. They will not change? Deep Root asked. His voice was barely a whisper. Elder Root shook her head. They will not change. They will keep loving when they should hate. Forgiving when they should revenge. Hoping when there is no reason to hope. They will keep making mistakes. And they will keep fixing them. They will keep walking toward the dark. Not because they are brave. Because they are curious. Because they cannot help themselves. Because that is what humans do. Deep Root sat down. He put his head in his hands. The other first ones stood in silence. No one knew what to say. What do we do now? Someone asked. Elder Root looked up at the dark sky. Somewhere out there, on a small blue planet, 8 billion humans were living their messy, chaotic, beautiful lives. They were fighting and loving, breaking and fixing, crying and laughing, being human. We watch, Elder Root said. We wait. We hope. That is all we can do. Thousands of years passed. The first ones watched. They saw humans spread across the galaxy. Not as conquerors. Not as destroyers. As builders. As healers. As friends. They went to cold, dead worlds and made them warm and alive. They went to lonely, scared species and offered them company. They went to dark, dangerous places and lit them up. The humans did not take over the galaxy. They did not build empires. They did not make slaves. They built gardens. They made music. They told stories. They fell in love. They had children. They grew old. They died. And their children did the same. The other species of the galaxy watched too. The Gorn. The Vorkith. The Krell. The Zorn. All of them watched the humans. At first, they were scared. The humans were unpredictable. They could not be trusted. They could not be understood. But as the years passed, the fear changed. It did not go away. It changed. It became something softer. Something warmer. Something like respect. Because the humans did not hurt anyone. They helped. They did not take. They gave. They did not hate. They loved. Not always. Not perfectly. Sometimes they made mistakes. Sometimes they hurt each other. Sometimes they did bad things. But they always tried to fix them. They always tried to be better. They never stopped trying. The universe watched all of this. The universe that had evolved fear. The universe that had named humanity the fear that walks. The universe that had waited for thousands of years to see what the humans would do. And the universe learned something new. Fear did not have to mean destruction. Sometimes fear just meant respect. Sometimes fear just meant paying attention. Sometimes fear just meant standing back and watching in wonder. The universe stopped being afraid of humans. Not because humans became predictable. They did not. They were still chaos. Still messy. Still confusing. Still impossible to understand. The universe stopped being afraid because it realized something important. Fear was not the enemy. Fear was just a feeling. And feelings could change. The first ones watched all of this from their dark place between stars. Elder Root was gone now. She had died long ago. But Deep Root was still there. Older than ever. Wiser than ever. And for the first time in his long, long life, he was not afraid. He looked at the other first ones. He smiled. It was a strange smile. The first ones did not smile. But Deep Root smiled. They are not monsters, he said. They are not saints. They are just humans. And that is enough. That is more than enough. He looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, a human child was laughing. Somewhere out there, a human was planting a garden. Somewhere out there, a human was singing a song. Somewhere out there, a human was making a mistake. And somewhere out there, another human was fixing it. The universe evolved fear, Deep Root said. It named them. And they wear that name like a crown. The fear that walks. And they will never stop walking. He closed his eyes. He listened. He could hear them. Billions of human hearts beating. Billions of human feet walking. Billions of human voices laughing and crying and singing and screaming. All of it. Chaos. Beautiful, terrible, wonderful chaos. And Deep Root, the oldest being in the galaxy, felt something he had never felt before. Not fear. Not peace. Something else. Something new. Hope. He did not know what the humans would do next. No one did. That was the point. That was the fear. That was the hope. That was the gift. The fear that walks. And they would never stop walking. Forever.